The mystery hid from the ages. Christ in you, the hope of glory. Colossians. This is the mystery which I am ever striving to realize more keenly myself and to urge upon others. Imagination is our Redeemer, the Lord from heaven, born of man but not begotten of man. Every man is Mary, and birth to Christ must give. If the story of the Immaculate Conception and birth of Christ appears irrational to man, it is only because it is misread as biography, history, and cosmology. And the modern explorers of the imagination do not help by calling it the unconscious or subconscious mind. Is he right? Imagination's birth and growth is the gradual transformation from a god of tradition to a god of experience. If the birth of Christ in man seems slow, it is only because man is unwilling to let go the comfortable but false anchorage of tradition. When imagination is discovered as the first principle of religion, the stone of literal understanding will have felt the rod of Moses, and like the rock of Zion, issue forth the water of psychological meaning to quench the thirst of humanity. And all who take the proffered cup and live a life according to this truth will transform the water of psychological meaning into the wine of forgiveness. Then, like the Good Samaritan, they will pour it on the wounds of all. So, let's dissect this. First part. When imagination is discovered as the first principle of religion, it says that imagination, not literal belief in outer events, is the true foundation of religion. Religion is not meant to be a rigid belief in historical facts, but an inner psychological experience based on the power of imagination. The second part. The stone of literal understanding will have felt the rod of Moses, and like the rock of Zion, issue forth the water of psychological meaning to quench the thirst of humanity. Stone of literal understanding. It means hard, rigid, dead belief in outer facts without deeper meaning. The rod of Moses equals a power of awakened imagination and spiritual authority. The authority of the Spirit. The Spirit is God. When the stone, so literalism, is struck by this power, it breaks open and out comes living water, the inner psychological meaning of spiritual stories, which nourishes humanity's inner thirst for truth. Third part. And all who take the proffered cup and live a life according to this truth will transform the water of psychological meaning into the wine of forgiveness. Those who accept this truth and live by it will transform simple understanding, which is water, into something richer and deeper, which is wine. Wine of forgiveness is the power to forgive, the power to love, the power to understand both themselves and others deeply, because they see everyone psychologically not as outer enemies or sinners, but a reflection of their inner state. Then, like the Good Samaritan, they will pour it on the wounds of all. And just like the Good Samaritan poured oil and wine on the wounded man, a person who understands the inner truth will bring healing to others by offering psychological understanding and forgiveness. Forgiveness, not judgment or condemnation. In short, this passage says that when you realize imagination is the core of spiritual life, you stop worshipping outer facts and start seeing the inner meaning of everything. This heals your own soul and gives you the ability to heal others by bringing forgiveness, understanding, and love. Oh my God, such a beautiful, beautiful message from Neville. The Son of God is not to be found in history nor in any external form. He can only be found as the imagination of Him in whom His presence becomes manifest. So, the Son of God is not to be found in history nor in any external form. This means the Son of God, which should be Jesus, is not something that you will find as a historical figure or in an outer physical form. It's not about finding him in ancient texts, churches, statues, or historical analysis. He can only be found as the imagination of him in whom his presence becomes manifest. The Son of God is found inside you, in your imagination, that is, when you awaken to your own divine nature. When you feel and recognize that the creative power of God is your own imagination, then the Son of God manifests in you. Again, when you feel and recognize that the creative power of God is your own imagination, then the Son of God manifests in you. It's an inner awakening and not an outer discovery. In short, the Son of God is the awakened imagination inside you. It's about discovering your own divine creative power, your ability to create reality through your inner states. When you realize that you become the manifestation of the Son of God, not by finding someone outside, but by awakening to what has always been within you. And as Neville says, God became man that man may become God. It's all an inner process of recognizing yourself as imagination, because you and I, my friend, are imagination. And Neville continues, Oh, would thy heart but a manger for his birth, God would once more become a child on earth. Man is the garden in which this only begotten Son of God sleeps. He awakens this Son by lifting his imagination up to heaven and clothing man in godlike stature. We must go on imagining better than the best we know. So, man is the garden in which this only begotten Son of God sleeps. Man is you, me. It's your inner being, our consciousness, your consciousness. Inside you, there is something divine, something eternally alive but asleep, called here the only begotten Son of God. It sleeps because most people live by their senses, their fears, their outer reality, without realizing the creative power they hold within. You are a living garden where a seed of God is planted, but unless you awaken it, it lies dormant. He awakens this Son by lifting his imagination up to heaven and clothing man in godlike stature. How do you awaken the Son? You lift your imagination, means you stop imagining small, fearful, miserable things. You raise your inner visions towards heaven, towards the highest, most beautiful, most loving images. You see yourself and others not as broken, weak, sinful, but as noble, divine beings, clothed in godlike stature. When you consistently imagine higher visions about yourself, about others, you literally awaken that divine power inside you. We must go on imagining better than the best we know. So never stop. Even when things are good, imagine even better. Even if you experience beauty, love, success, keep stretching the heights of your imagination. Because your true nature is infinite and your destiny is to continuously create higher and higher states. So, you are a garden where the divine creative imagination is asleep. You awaken it by imagining noble, loving, beautiful realities for yourself and others. You must never settle. but keep imagining higher and better realities, lifting the world with you. This is not just positive thinking, it's a sacred act that literally wakes up the Christ within you.